Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our coffee morning. How would you define a wilderness? For many, it's a seemingly everlasting expanse of emptiness, a wild landscape where nobody lives and there's no human influence or contact, and that's a reasonable description and tallies with many dictionary descriptions. It's a place to be avoided whenever possible because it would be a difficult place to live. But its very wildness has proved to be an irresistible magnet to some individuals who have found in themselves, and sometimes other like-minded ones, a desire to explore various bits of the planet that most would find a prospect too difficult. They also find them difficult and often spend a great deal of time and treasure preparing themselves for their expeditions to ensure the best chance of success. It can still surprise me to find that there are still huge expanses of the world that are wild in the sense that no people live there. This, of course, is because the resources we need for our daily existence are hard to find, or that the climate is too harsh. This doesn't stop our intrepid explorer, as he will have prepared himself for every foreseeable occasion, but not the unforeseen ones. This is what separates the successful from the unsuccessful, the ability to adapt to the unexpected. And this is also when the notion of wilderness really kicks in, when the resources he has are the ones within himself. The real wilderness is being separated from others we can call upon to help and provide for us, out of our comfort zone, some might say. Once when on holiday touring in the far northwest of Scotland, one of our party, a dedicated and enthusiastic shopper, discovered that she was in a wilderness, bereft of all retail opportunities, when she announced that the next shop she saw, she was going to buy something, even if it was a pound of nails. To be fair, the shops are thin on the ground in Sutherland. Oddly enough, though, I feel more disorientated and in a wilderness than when surrounded by shops. Living in this part of the world with boundless supplies of food and water, as well as all that is available to us with a minimal effort, it's hard to imagine being in a wilderness. But that, of course, depends on what we mean by wilderness. As I said earlier, people have different views on what qualifies as a wilderness. There is the biblical idea of a desert, or the vast areas of tundra in Canada or Siberia, with limited resources by way of the basic necessities of life, where utmost diligence and care is needed just to survive the next day. We are all familiar with the story of Moses leading the children of Israel out of Egypt and spending 40 years in the wilderness until they reached the promised land. This needed, as well as diligence and care, skill and leadership, and a strong faith. These people found themselves in their position with very little time to prepare, and were led by someone who they barely knew, but trusted because he acted with God's authority. In the strange circumstances in which we find ourselves today, when because of personal limitations, we can find ourselves, because of advice and maybe pressure from the government, cut off from our familiar world, from personal contact with family, friends and neighbours, we may start to think of this as a sort of wilderness. But it's not. In fact, the support we need is available. You only need to ask. And yes, I know this can be difficult for some of us. The trick is knowing who to ask and what to ask for to get the best outcome. Well, stay well, look after yourselves, and